Oh, hi. So, I had a client picture the other week, and I thought it would look good because it was looking down on something from a high view. And I thought it would look good if we put like a model village effect on it, so that it looked as though you've probably seen it on the television on things recently as well, where you look down on something and it literally looks like you're looking into a model village effect, where some of the bits are in focus and some of them aren't, and you're thinking, wow, I could almost reach down and pick that up. So I thought I'd recreate it, and I completely forgotten. It was about 10 years ago that I worked out how to do it, and I learnt how to do it. And I went to do this thing, and I thought, can't remember. I ended up searching around on YouTube for ages, just looking for an example, and then realised that Photoshop has obviously automated the whole process and made it really easy. So I've since remembered I found some notes that I did on this years and years ago, and so I just thought I'd show you the old method and the new method, and whether or not there is any difference, or whether I would still prefer to have full control over what I'm doing or not. So you'll see what I'm going to do when I've done it, but this picture was taken in northern France, in Dijon, and I was actually in a hotel looking down on my card at the time down there. Basically this is an ideal picture. If you're looking at a model village, obviously you're going to be stood from a vantage point over a model village, so there's no point, it doesn't really work, the effect doesn't work at ground level. You need to have that sort of height vantage point. So the way that we do this manually, as in the old days, and we've opened up our picture here, is we would create a duplicate layer of this, which is just Control-J, and if you can see, I think my picture thing is going to get in the way over there. Move that over to there, and let's bring this screen over slightly. There we go. I think that's slightly better. Hopefully you can see that. So in fact, I'll just go back, undo that layer. So we've got our base layer with our base picture. So Control-J gives us a copy of that layer, and then to make this effect work, we need to create a layer mask. So that's down here on this bottom panel, and we make sure that we're on our new layer that we've made, and click layer mask, and you can see the layer mask has now appeared just there. So make sure that that's selected as opposed to that one selected. And from there we then pick the gradient tool, which is here, a little arrow there, and it's the same tab as the paint bucket, which I use quite a lot, but that's the gradient tool. The only thing to do with the gradient tool is to make sure that you are on black to transparent, and as long as you're on black to transparent, the thing will work. So the only thing to do then is, on the gradient tool, is go over the bit that you want in focus, where you want the main focus to be, which is my old Jeep down there, and draw the line up. You'll practice this, but I generally find the higher up the page you go, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to spoil what you're doing. It just means that you're more likely to get a more accurate focus on the area that you need. So that's it there. I'm going to go there, and you can see that nothing whatsoever has happened. But if you look down here on the layer mask, you'll see that we've clearly done something there. Next thing to do to make this thing show is to click back from the layer mask back over to the copy of the image, and then go up to the top and filter, and into blur, and then down to lens blur, and you'll immediately see that we've now got blur to the top and we've got blur to the bottom, and what we've got in focus is pretty much my old Jeep, which was new at the time. We can change the radius. I'm on 32 there at the moment. Changing the radius, and you'll see that we can blur out more, we can bring more back into focus. If I go to the extreme, you'll see it's really useless. That doesn't really work, but you can play around with this until you're happy that you've got something that looks relatively real. And my preference is somewhere around there. That's probably about right, around 30 marker. And you can see then I've got this in focus, the car or the back of the car, which is really what I need to be in focus. Under there looks like you could almost reach down and grab it, and then everything else around it is out of focus, so we just okay that. Okay, and that's it. That is effectively creating a tilt shift. If you want to play with that a little bit further and you're not entirely happy that you've got as much in there as you want, or you want to bring more back in, then just repeat the process again. If on the same line you want to just get rid of some of the blur, then you just click back over into your layer mask, choose your paintbrush, make sure that you've got black as the front colour, and then if you watch this down here carefully around the number plate, you can mask off and get rid of all the blur that you've created until you're completely happy with that image. Obviously I've gone too far, so I'm just going to go back from that and undo lens blur. I'm going to get rid of all of that, and I'm going to just get rid of my disable delete layer mask and go back to my original picture, and I'm going to do it again, just with a little bit more blur on it. So I'm going to be on my new layer that I've created, go into layer mask, click on my layer mask, make sure that I've got my gradient tool on black to transparent, click on the picture that I want to preserve. I mean, if you want a straight line up, I mean, that will go all over the place. If you want a straight line up, just press your shift key while you're going up. I'm going to go up a little bit higher this time, up to there. You won't see any change until you go back into the image copy itself, and then up into filter, blur, lens blur. That will bring up its new window, and then you can play around with the radius, and there's a few other controls in there, but radius is really the main tool that you'd want to play with. I've just gone slightly higher now. I've gone from 2930 to 36, and okay, and that's my image, and that's what you're ending up with. And it now pretty much looks as though you could almost reach down into there and pick that up. It's really good. I mean, it's maybe not the best image in the world to do this type of thing, but it works. So let's just come back off that again. I'm back to my base layer, and the other way of doing it is very simply go into filter, go into blur gallery, go into tilt shift, and now the whole thing will effectively just do the whole process for you. And you can adjust where you want the focus areas to be. You can blend everything in, and the job is done for us busy jobbing photoshoppers in, and let's just okay that, a fraction of the time. It's basically the same result. And it's startling really, but Photoshop has moved on so far over the years that, you know, learning things and dancing around and trying to find out how things work is kind of a thing of the past. Everything that you need to know is going to be on YouTube, and it just makes life so much easier and so much quicker to get that done. So that was it. It was literally just a quick clip just to show you two ways, the old and the new. And I don't think I could really distinguish between either. They're both equally as good. You've got equal control over them. Yeah, really, really pleased.